Okay, so get this, right? We were looking at some, like global stats in Finland, right? They have more saunas than cars.
That's wild.
It's crazy. It makes you think. It makes you wonder, what is it about saunas that are so ingrained into like the Finnish identity, their way of life?
Yeah, and that kind of leads us into what we're going to be diving into today,
Mm-hmm.
Finnish sauna culture.
Mm,
It goes so far beyond, like, just a way to clean yourself, right?
yeah.
UNESCO, back in 2020, recognized it as intangible cultural heritage.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
that tells you something. That tells you that there's something really special about this.
For sure. So for all of you listening, our goal today is to try and, unpack this really fascinating element of Finnish identity. Like we want to understand the deep history of this, the core values that it embodies, and why it continues to be so important in Finland today.
Absolutely.
So we've been looking at Litteri Teksti, which is, it gives a pretty comprehensive view of the sauna's role in, from its ancient origins all the way to its presence in modern art and literature. Yeah.
So our mission is to, like, distill those essential insights
Right.
and give you, the listener, a really clear and engaging understanding of why the sauna holds such a central place in Finnish, hearts and culture.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's unpack this. Where does this incredible story even begin? Where do we start?
Well, you have to go way back, right? We're talking about archaeological digs that have found, the remains of primitive sauna-like structures. I mean, these were pits in the ground with a stone hearth that have been dated back to 7,000 BC.
7,000, that's crazy.
Yeah, and these early forms, they provided warmth, which in Finland is, not an insignificant thing, and a place for cleansing. And the fact that they were some of the earliest constructed spaces really tells you something about how important those needs were from the very beginning.
For sure, like warmth and hygiene must have been, like, absolutely essential for their, like, survival, especially in Finland's climate. Right.
So these were like, pits in the ground. How did these basic structures, evolve into what we picture today when we think of the sauna?
Well, the next big step was around 500 AD.
Mm.
And this is when the Finns started to build, actual dedicated log cabins just for bathing.
Okay.
And this is when the sauna emerged, or what you would call a smoke sauna.
The smoke sauna.
Yeah, these are wood-burning stoves, but they didn't have a chimney. So they would fill the room with smoke, and then they'd ventilate it.
Oh, wow.
And the sauna was, like, the main type of sauna for over 1,000 years.
Hmm.
And it really became, connected to so many rituals and community practices.
Mhm.
And just the fact that, building one of these things must have been a huge undertaking.
Yeah.
I mean, it must have been a big deal to say, okay, we need to put together a structure that's going to do this.
Oh, for sure. It was so central to their way of life. And speaking of like, central, the text mentions that it was often the first building that settlers would put up. Makes you wonder if it was almost more important than shelter in some ways.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, at least initially, right? Like, if you're gonna, you've got to think about it, right? If you're gonna be out in the elements, you need to be able to warm up.
Right, right. Yeah. So so its historical importance really can't be overstated. I mean, it wasn't just, about hygiene. It served as like a versatile and, almost sacred space for so many important life events, right? The text mentions childbirth, taking care of the sick, even preparing the deceased for burial.
Right. It was the central hub for the community, a place of, beginnings and endings, really.
Absolutely. And there's that Finnish proverb.
Yeah.
That's so fantastic, right? The proverb. If tar, vodka, or sauna can't cure what ails you, the disease is likely fatal.
I love that one.
I mean, that really shows how deep-seated their belief is in its restorative powers.
Absolutely. And it's important to remember, right, that the sauna has its origins deep in the Finnish forests. This links it symbolically to nature-focused values, and this really profound connection to the environment remains a huge part of Finnish identity.
For sure. So it's not just like a physical practice. It's really tied to their sense of place, their relationship with the natural world.
Right, right.
And it also played a really significant role in shaping their distinct identity.
Right.
Especially when you look at their neighbors.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The sauna helped to set Finnish culture apart, especially during periods when they were navigating influences from Sweden and Russia. It became a unique marker of their own autonomy and their own cultural heritage, something that was distinctly Finnish.
Yeah.
And this sense of it being a unique cultural space, it even extended into international relations with this, fascinating idea of sauna diplomacy.
Sauna diplomacy. What is that?
Well, the text suggests that Finnish leaders have used the sauna, which is such an informal and egalitarian setting, to hold discussions and negotiations with foreign counterparts. The idea is that because it's so relaxed, this equalizing atmosphere, everyone's stripped down to the same level, literally, brings down barriers and leads to more candid, maybe even more productive conversations. It's a fascinating example of how a cultural tradition can be leveraged in international affairs.
That's so fascinating. It's like a steamy summit where, the titles and the formality just melt away with the heat.
Exactly.
And despite all these incredible changes throughout history, over time, the sauna's popularity is just astonishing today, right? We said it before, more saunas than cars. That's not something you hear every day. So what does that tell us about its continued relevance in Finland?
Well, it speaks to its enduring appeal and its deep integration into modern Finnish life. You find saunas everywhere in Finland. We're talking private homes, apartments, hotels, offices, even in their parliament house.
Wow.
And the tradition of the weekly sauna, often on Saturdays, is still a really significant cultural ritual for so many Finns. They long for that lakeside sauna experience, especially in the summer. It's deeply ingrained in their way of life, right? It's not just a nostalgic tradition. It's living and breathing.
Yeah, it's like
It's fun.
an active part of their culture, like today. So it's clear that the sauna is like a central part of Finnish identity, but what are the core values, like the Finnish values that it really embodies? I know look, Teddy Texty talks about a few key ones, right? Like nature being a big one.
Yeah, nature, equality, and community.
Yeah.
And, the link between the sauna and nature is just so fundamental. The sauna, originated in the forests. They were built alongside lakes. The traditional ritual is all about natural elements, right? We're talking about wood for the fire, water for the loily, that steam that's essential to the experience, and then the cooling off, often in, a lake or even rolling in the snow. It's like this very direct interaction with nature that's so central to it.
That's incredible, that contrast between that really intense heat and then, the bracing cold. Sounds so invigorating. And the text mentions the sauna being seen as like a church of nature.
Yeah.
What a powerful image.
It emphasizes the deep, almost spiritual connection to the environment that the sauna offers.
Yeah.
It suggests that it's a place of solace, reflection, rejuvenation, much like, a sacred space, but one that is truly rooted in the natural world.
Yeah.
And then there's the vita or vasta, these bundles of birch branches that you use almost like a natural whisk. They bring the scent of the forest into the sauna, and they're believed to have like therapeutic benefits. They stimulate circulation. So it's all part of this holistic connection to nature. It engages multiple senses.
That's amazing. It's like bringing the essence of Finland right into that experience. And beyond nature, the text also highlights equality as like a really core value in sauna culture, right? This idea that social status just melts away with the heat.
That's right. That's right. The Finnish sauna is traditionally like an egalitarian space where hierarchies disappear. There's a saying, in the sauna, everyone is equal. That just sums it up perfectly.
Right.
And the traditional practice of nudity is, a key symbol of this equality.
Yeah.
You're stripping away those visible markers of status, clothing, possessions, and you're focusing on shared humanity.
Yeah.
Its ethos is so strong that it even extends to military saunas, which are strictly egalitarian zones.
That's amazing.
It's a really powerful demonstration of how deep this value runs.
It is. It's like everyone for that time being is equal, right?
Yeah.
And it's interesting how such a simple act can carry such a profound meaning, right?
Yeah.
It's this temporary escape from, societal structures. And then there's, of course, the aspect of community, right? That the sauna is very much a shared experience.
Absolutely. Historically, and even today, the sauna is a vital gathering place.
Yeah.
Traditionally, it was the central spot for families and friends, even entire communities. And they would, share stories, reminisce, and even have these informal business meetings in this warm and relaxed atmosphere. Public saunas serve as these really important communal spaces. They bring together people from all walks of life. And the family sauna really plays this crucial role in passing down traditions and strengthening familial bonds, across generations. So it's a place of shared experience and connection.
That's beautiful. It's more than just like a physical cleansing, right? It's also
Yeah.
a social and cultural like cleansing. It's
Yeah.
it's a way to connect on a deeper, more human level.
Yeah.
Now, moving on to the design, it seems like Finnish design principles, that emphasis on functionality and natural materials, is really embodied in sauna architecture.
It is. Finnish design is world-renowned for its functionality, its simplicity, and its deep respect for,
Yeah.
for natural materials. And you really see that in the way that saunas have been
Oh,
designed.
yeah.
We talk about those early pit structures and smoke saunas, which were very much about basic necessity and, using the resources that they had available to them.
Right. It was form follows function in a really direct and almost like unadorned way.
Hmm.
But as society evolved, so did the sauna. And Lee Titty Texty mentioned some really interesting contemporary examples. Loyoli in Helsinki. That sounds really striking.
Yeah, Loyoli is a beautiful example of modern Finnish design. It's right on the waterfront. It's this sculptural wooden building. It's really aesthetically stunning, but it's also very functional. It houses traditional wood-heated saunas.
Okay.
And then you have the Serlakias Art Sauna, which has this really distinctive circular shape that's designed to like emphasize the gathering,
Yeah.
of people coming together. And it seamlessly integrates art into the entire sauna experience. It's this blend of tradition and contemporary artistic expression.
An art sauna. That's a wild concept. It really shows how the tradition is being reinterpreted.
Yeah.
And there are so many other examples that the text lists, right? Cottage saunas, hotel saunas, even a smoke sauna with a lake view. It seems like there's a design for every imaginable setting.
Absolutely. And they range from, the very ingenious portable saunas that are offered by companies like Lapelland, which allows the sauna experience to be had almost anywhere,
That's wide.
to the innovative concept of sauna restaurants.
Wow.
And even in modern construction, there's this focus on sustainability that you see evident in the use of cross-laminated timber, or CLT, in the tiny sauna collection.
Yeah.
So, it shows a commitment to tradition, but also to future-conscious design.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear that while they, very much respect that tradition, they're also innovating in the ways that saunas are being designed and experienced today. What about the actual interior design elements? Are there common features and materials we would typically expect to see inside a Finnish sauna?
Yeah, well, wood is definitely the primary material. Spruce, aspen, cedar, those are very common choices. They're prized for their durability, their heat resistance, and their pleasant aromas.
Okay.
Proper insulation and ventilation are also key, for creating that really authentic and enjoyable experience.
Yeah.
And the benches are often tiered, so they're placed at different heights. That allows people to choose their preferred heat level because the heat rises.
Makes sense.
And there's even specific guidelines, like the height and the depth of the benches, to optimize the throw of the lolly. Ceiling design is also important because you've got to make sure that the steam circulates effectively.
Oh, right.
Traditionally, the lighting is kept natural and subtle. It creates this really calming and intimate atmosphere. But, as we talked about before, modern saunas, they're starting to experiment more with colors and materials while still aiming for that peaceful feeling.
So it's this really careful balance between the practicality,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And the ambiance.
Right.
You got to manage the heat, the steam, but also, you want it to be a certain, a certain
Yeah.
quality, right? And no sauna is complete without the essential accessories, right? The wooden bucket, the ladle. I mean, those are almost iconic.
Yeah. The kulu, that's the bucket, and the kauha, that's the ladle, are essential for creating the loli.
Yeah.
You also have things like, sauna thermometer, hygrometer to monitor the heat and the humidity. You have the vita or vasta. You have the sauna stones themselves, which retain and radiate the heat. Towels, buffletti, which are the seat covers. And increasingly, people are using sauna scents that are made with natural oils, and even, decorative items to just kind of enhance the atmosphere. So whether it's traditional or more contemporary in its design, these accessories often reflect that Finnish ethos of, functionality and simplicity.
Right, right. It's all those carefully considered details that add up to the whole experience. Now let's talk about sauna tourism. It sounds like experiencing an authentic Finnish sauna is becoming an increasingly popular, almost essential part of a Nordic travel itinerary.
It really is. More and more tourists are seeing the Finnish sauna as this key part of the Nordic tourism experience, because it offers this genuine and really insightful glimpse into Finnish culture. And the fact that there are so many saunas across Finland, it makes it really easy to access for tourists.
Right.
You'll find them everywhere, from private rentals to huge public facilities. And there are even guided sauna tours and programs for those that, want a more detailed introduction.
And Leteti Texiti lists like so many different sauna destinations, especially
Mhm.
around Helsinki
Oh, yeah.
and the surrounding regions. There's so many, it's almost overwhelming in a good way.
Yeah. You have the architecturally stunning Loyoli. You have the Alice Sea Pool, which is open year-round, has its own saunas. There's a charming island sauna at Launa.
Wow.
And you have more traditional, historic public saunas like Kotiharjun sauna. And if you go outside Helsinki, even just a little bit, you have the container sauna at Loilikanti, the lakeside saunas at Laguni Kilaniemi,
Yeah.
and within Nuuksio National Park. And that's really just, that's just the Helsinki area.
Wow. And it's not just the capital region, right? Inland, Tampere is known as like the sauna capital.
That's right.
And in Lapland, you can find everything from, the traditional smoke saunas to ice saunas. I mean, the variety is just incredible.
Right. In Tampere, you have these historic gems, Rajaporti and the modern sauna restaurant Kuma. And then in Lapland, you can try the Kurakaltio smoke sauna, which
Yeah.
is out in the wilderness.
Right.
And then the really unforgettable experience of an ice sauna.
Ice sauna, that sounds intense. It is.
Yeah.
That sounds like a real test of like resilience. And the list of like truly unique sauna destinations
Yeah.
is just incredible, right? There's a Ferris wheel sauna.
Yeah.
There are floating saunas. There's even a sauna that they put inside of an airplane lodge. I mean, it really showcases how they're embracing tradition and innovation.
Absolutely. For tourists, it's not just about the heat. It's about immersing themselves in this really unique culture, experiencing this deep relaxation, and, maybe even having a chance for self-reconnection.
Yeah.
The atmosphere in a traditional sauna is typically calm and quiet. You'll often smell birch from the vita. And, while Finns traditionally sauna in the nude, tourists are generally welcome and comfortable wearing a swimsuit or towel.
Okay. Good to know.
The key is to embrace the experience and maybe even, be open to a spontaneous sauna invitation because, that could be a really genuine cultural exchange.
Yeah, that's really cool. It sounds like a much more holistic and culturally significant experience than just, sitting in a hot tub.
Right.
And it's interesting to consider how the Finnish sauna differs from other bathing cultures, right? Like
Yeah.
like a Turkish hammam, for example,
Absolutely.
or a Japanese onsen.
Yeah, the Finnish sauna, with its emphasis on dry heat,
Yeah.
is very different from, the humid heat of a hammam or the communal soaking in an onsen. And that practice of contrasting the heat with a cold plunge into, icy water or rolling in snow
Hmm.
is also very specific to their tradition.
Right.
And as we talked about before, that cultural emphasis on equality and communal well-being is another thing that sets it apart.
It's fascinating how each culture has their own way to cleanse and relax and connect. Now, how is the sauna fitting into contemporary life, with these like global wellness trends that we see gaining so much momentum?
Yeah, well, the Finnish sauna really aligns with that global interest in heat therapy.
Hmm.
More and more, there's this scientific recognition of its many health benefits. We're talking about improved circulation, stress reduction, detoxification, even potential positive impacts on cognitive and cardiovascular health. So, in that sense, it's very in sync with modern wellness trends.
It makes sense, right? And Leteti Texti mentions some really novel contemporary concepts that are emerging, right? Like ice saunas and even sauna restaurants. It seems like there's this constant evolution in how the sauna is being integrated into modern lifestyles.
Right. You see this combination of intense heat and the invigorating shock of, ice bathing in places like Paitapalo High Tech and Sahanladi Resort.
Okay.
The sauna restaurant, like Sauna Vintola Kulu, offers a social and culinary experience.
Right.
And then you have, mobile saunas, like the ones that are offered by Lapelland and Wellness Dream Mobile Sauna Spa,
Right.
which, kind of cater to the modern demands for accessibility. You can bring the sauna anywhere. And then the Tasteful by Sauna from Finland concept integrates food and drink into the sauna ritual.
That's great.
So, you can see that they're really trying to modernize it in a lot of ways.
Mm.
And for many Finns, going to the sauna is just a regular part of their leisure activities, like eating and sleeping.
Yeah, for sure. It's become so ingrained into their everyday life. And it plays a role in so many different contexts, right? Family time, social gatherings, relaxation after work or exercise, and as we touched on before, even informal business networking with Lankasana.
Right.
It seems so versatile.
It really is. It's a multifaceted space
Yeah.
that serves so many different social, personal, and even professional needs in Finnish society.
Now, with such a long history, a rich history, it's natural to wonder if sauna traditions and practices like are different across generations, right? I mean,
Yep.
are there shifts in how younger Finns approach the sauna compared to older generations?
Yeah, well, the sauna traditions, they're definitely passed down within families, and children are introduced to the experience at a really young age.
Oh, wow.
Of course, they make adjustments for young children. They have shorter sessions. Maybe they sit on lower benches where it's a bit cooler. But, as teenagers grow up, their habits might evolve.
Yeah.
So, younger adults, they tend to be more accepting of mixed gender saunas,
Okay.
if they're with friends. Whereas older generations might still prefer separate saunas,
Yeah.
along those traditional lines. And also, the frequency has changed. Traditionally, it was, once a week on Saturday, but now it's more common to enjoy a sauna, multiple times a week.
Yeah.
They try to fit it into their busy schedules.
So it's fascinating how the core practice, that cultural significance endures, but the social norms are kind of shifting. What about the actual like traditions themselves? Have they changed in terms of like how the sauna is experienced?
Well, there has been a shift from the traditional smoke sauna to more readily available wood-heated and electric saunas,
Mm-hmm.
largely driven by, urbanization. It's more
Mhm.
convenient. But, it's interesting that the smoke sauna is still highly valued for its unique atmosphere. And there's even a bit of a revival going on with those looking for a more authentic, kind of original experience.
Yeah.
The purpose of the sauna has also broadened. While hygiene was obviously very important, throughout history, now it's as much, if not more, about mental well-being, stress relief, social interaction.
Right.
And accessibility has changed dramatically, with saunas being found in apartments and gyms and hotels. So it's more of an everyday experience. And, we talked about ice saunas and those new concepts. That also reflects this generational evolution, this willingness to kind of, play with the tradition a little bit.
That's really interesting. It's this combination of holding on to the tradition but also adapting it for today. And finally, let's touch on the sauna's presence in Finnish art and literature.
Mm.
It sounds like it's not just, a casual backdrop, but a really deeply symbolic element.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The sauna has really permeated Finnish art and literature.
Yeah.
It serves as this like inspiration and a really powerful symbol.
Yeah.
The Serlakias art sauna, which we mentioned before, is a great example of how art can be integrated into the sauna experience. They had, Finnish artists commissioned to create works specifically for that space.
Wow.
And the mythical sauna Tantu, which is the sauna elf.
A sauna elf.
Yeah, it's this, small mischief spirit that's believed to inhabit the sauna.
Mm.
It has inspired so many artistic interpretations.
That's amazing. I love that. It adds this like almost whimsical layer to the whole tradition. And in literature, the sauna has a really long and significant history, right?
Mm.
This isn't anything new.
No. In the Kalevala, which is, Finland's national epic, the sauna is depicted as this powerful and symbolic place.
Mhm.
It's associated with events like birth, healing, even supernatural encounters.
Wow.
And contemporary Finnish literature continues to explore the sauna in a lot of depth. There are so many books dedicated to its cultural, social, philosophical facets. You can even find children's books about the sauna, which is really, heartwarming. It shows how important it is to pass down that tradition.
Yeah.
So you can really see how deeply ingrained it is in their cultural narrative. And it shapes not just their daily lives, but also, their creative imagination.
For sure. And it's even found its way into Finnish music, which I guess, given its presence in other art forms, isn't too surprising.
No. There are lots of songs, ranging from traditional folk tunes to contemporary pieces that really celebrate the sauna. They're all about the experience, the rituals, and the feelings of relaxation and camaraderie. And there are even instrumental pieces that try to capture the unique atmosphere of the sauna. So it's just another way that this fundamental tradition is woven into, the rich tapestry of Finnish culture.
So to bring it all together, it's clear that the Finnish sauna is so much more than just a place to, cleanse the body. It's this really powerful and enduring symbol of Finnish identity.
Hmm.
And it has these deep historical roots, stretching back thousands of years. It embodies core Finnish values like a connection to nature, equality, the importance of community. It's a tradition that's evolved. It's a key part of tourism. It's adapted to modern life while still respecting its heritage. And we've seen these really interesting generational shifts, and it's profoundly inspired Finnish art and literature.
Absolutely. It's a cornerstone of Finnish culture, and it really reflects their unique history, their values and their spirit.
It does. And it kind of leads us to a final thought for you, the listener.
Yeah.
Given, how important the sauna is to Finnish life and how connected it is to well-being, what rituals or practices in your own culture give you a similar feeling?
Yeah.
Do you have something that gives you that sense of cultural identity, connection, and rejuvenation? What's your sanctuary? What does that space or practice really represent to you?
That's a great question. Something for everyone to think about. What are the things that ground us in our own cultures and in our own lives?
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into Finnish sauna culture. I hope this exploration has given you a richer understanding of this really unique tradition.
I hope so too.
And we encourage you to, think about that final thought, maybe explore those cultural rituals and those personal sanctuaries that you have in your own life. And as always, we have many more deep dives into all sorts of fascinating topics available for you to explore and enjoy.
Thanks for listening.